sip on this. Are managers managing the workplace, project, the production, or the people? And have they resorted to micromanaging? It is a serious question and one I've pondered a lot lately, pertaining to some shorts I've posted on TikTok if you follow me, or here on YouTube if you're watching me here, which then resulted in a blog I wrote for my website listed above, coachingwithmsd.com. If this is your first time joining me, then welcome. I'm your host, Deirdre Haggerty. I'm a certified career coach and founder of Coaching with Miss D, that offers life coaching and career coaching services to align your career with your values and life's vision, which is something I'm truly passionate about because it's something I yearned for my entire career, as well as truly enjoy watching my clients achieve their goals. I am so excited you're joining me today to have a conversation. Coffee, tea, wine in hand, whatever you're drinking, as we chat about life, careers, relationship, and all the little things that can shape who we are. I will not talk at you or tell you what to do. It's just the two of us in this cute little coffee shop behind us, chatting about topics that make us laugh or drive us nuts. So, I heard a podcast recently from my favorite podcast, the only one I listen to is Mel Robbins, who's been tremendously instrumental in the things that I have done. She doesn't know that, but she has. And in this podcast, I learned modern management developed in the 1930s by Peter F. Drucker, who created it as a discipline to set clear objectives for employees, among other things. However, since then, micromanagement has seeped into the modern workplace. And I'm not sure this was his intention, and no, I was not there. My mom was probably not even there. She was born in the late 30s, which when I think about that, it's kind of crazy. So how does micromanaging destroy the workplace? And if you want, you can go read it on my website with all the research pertaining to it and the references that are also there as well. So what happens? Well, there's increased stress. There's a high turnover. Now, this is a huge red flag. If you're interviewing for a job, let's say you're interviewing for a management job, mid-level career, and this position has been filled 5 times in the past 6 months, chances are it's due to micromanaging. Ding, ding, ding. You don't want that job. Micromanaging results in poor job satisfaction. There's low productivity. There's a decrease in sales and revenue. Employees aren't giving it their all. They don't care. And they don't feel empowered to display their full set of skills if there's a micromanager over their shoulder doing it for them or telling them how to do it. There's a reduction in employee engagement. Why bother if my boss will just pull the mouse from my hand to do the work rather than allow me to do it or to see my results and then offer me feedback that will be constructive so that it would bring a positive work environment and create the goals that possibly whatever is needed in this particular business. And micromanaging pops up a lot in my career sessions. This isn't all just about things that I've experienced. These are things that my clients have experienced, my friends have experienced, and it goes one way or the other. I mean, you can work for a place where there's incredible micromanaging, or I also know a lot of people who work for huge corporations where their output is of the utmost importance, and the upper management has this kumbaya attitude, like, here you go, just you figure it out. And they're like, wait, what? So, there needs to be some directives. We just don't need this overkill. Micromanaging results in low autonomy, which then creates low motivation. And this is something I truly love. Quiet quitting. This phenomenon, quietly quitting, which I've done, I'm not going to lie. I have. It's largely attributed to poor management and a lack of employee engagement. I mean, this all ties in and fits together. As a matter of fact, another poll by Gallup, 50% of U.S. workers are quietly quitting. Imagine that. There's a risk of burnout. Constant oversight is mentally exhausting. Even if you're not doing a physical job, just imagine this. And this has happened to me. I've worked in a place. This was not a management position. It was kind of an in-between job where I just needed to make some money, and it was an office job, and there was a front desk. And at the front desk, there were 3 people in the reception area, and there was a boss, and he had a long nail. And I'm not discriminating that I had a long nail, and I'm doing this because I want you to hear the noise. He would tap his watch. So imagine getting up from your seat to go to the bathroom, and if the bathroom closest to where you sit is occupied, you have to walk maybe a 30-second more of a walk, and he's tapping his watch and he's monitoring you. What if you're constipated? What if you have diarrhea? Sorry if that's TMI, but what if you have to change your feminine napkins? There are reasons why you might be in that bathroom. That's an extreme example of micromanaging. And you may be home listening to this in your car and like, oh my God, yes, this happens. This has happened to me. You may even be that person. Don't do that anymore. There's a decrease in creativity and problem solving. Employees feel constrained. If you have to call your supervisor or your manager for constant approval and they allow it, that is a problem. Like, let's say, for instance, you work in a place that's open 7 days a week, and you work on the weekends, and you have to contact your manager on a weekend, and that's their day off, and they're telling you what to do. They're giving you the advice. They're answering that call. They're allowing it to happen because they don't trust you. They don't trust you to make that decision for yourself. That can be rectified on the next day they're in the business. Unless the place is burning down or somebody's breaking in or somebody's hurt, there's no reason to call your manager. Figure it out. If you're put in that position, you should know what to do, and your manager should have taught you what to do. Micromanaging creates a negative culture, or what is very common now, a toxic work environment. There's no trust, there's no confidence in management. There's threatening behavior, there's gossip, and rudeness is just widespread. So, where is micromanaging prevalent? Another Gallup research indicates that about only 1 in 10 people naturally possess strong managerial talent. And then if you are a manager, maybe you're new to managing, and this is where micromanaging comes in. Or maybe you realize, or maybe you were promoted and you didn't really even want to be in that position. Or you don't want to be a manager because it's lonely at the top. I had a regional director who would tell me that all the time. It's lonely at the top, and some people don't want that responsibility. They want to be liked, and oftentimes managers aren't liked, and it doesn't mean they're a micromanager. It could just mean that they've had to make decisions that the other people in their team do not like, and that has to happen because sometimes we can't make everybody happy. That doesn't mean we can't be kind. That doesn't mean we can't show empathy. However, we cannot make everybody happy all the time. So small businesses can be especially vulnerable when untrained leaders resort to controlling styles. Micromanagers are generally new to their role and feel this need to control, or they've lost control, and then they enact policies to regain it. And those policies are micromanaging policies. There's another study by Marzoni and Barceau in the Harvard Business Review that the set up to fail dynamics, such as micromanaging, are common in large organizations where hierarchies are rigid and feedback loops are weak. If there's no positive feedback or even negative feedback, if something is happening that needs correction, it's not happening in larger corporations because there's just the micromanaging happening, but there's no instruction or positive criticism or even negative criticism to grow or expand or fix whatever it is that project is that they're working on. Small businesses often experience founder-driven micromanagement, due to trust and control issues. Something I know firsthand. My husband and I owned a business together. We owned it for 10 years. I left after 10 years. My husband stayed on for a few more years after that. But for the first few years, we had a small brick and mortar, 1,800 square feet. When we closed those doors, and great for us, moved to a bigger facility, like double the size, I cried. That was my baby. And I literally said, that was my baby. So I understand. The difference is I could not be there all the time. I had to hire the right people to do the job, and I had to trust them to do the job. It was that type of business. You sometimes just have to let go and let God. Small business management, micromanagement, is often a symptom of personal control issues. Like, here's something else. Monitoring employee workflow from the cameras installed above rather than from results. I've seen this. Now, a lot of places have cameras. They have to have cameras to maybe thwart theft, right? Oh, that could have been a tongue twister if I didn't say that right. But they shouldn't be used if somebody picks up their phone and those cameras are zooming in to see what they're looking at for that maybe 3 seconds they grab their phone. Yes, that has happened. Not to me, but I know of a place where that has gone on. That is not acceptable. Large corporations see systemic micromanagement due to bureaucracy and risk-averse cultures. Big corporate micromanaging is often a symptom of structural system issues. There was a breakdown, and it just never got fixed. So that was my little synopsis of micromanaging. Poor management can occur anywhere, in a hair salon, high school, or huge corporation you just signed with. Now, are you a micromanager? Or are you a victim of micromanagement? Have anything I said resonated with you? Where do you see yourself in some of these other scenarios? Let's say the regional director insists on one monthly in-person management meeting. Okay, that's cool. That's feasible. That's doable. That's something you would anticipate, right? But let's say there's another regional director who not only do you have one monthly in-person management meeting, but then you have 2 weekly management calls, group calls with the other managers in the organization. 2, along with this one monthly management meeting. Where is it overkill and where is it micromanaging? And maybe it's both. I don't know. You call your manager 4 to 5 times during your shift or more, fearing that you might make an incorrect decision because they won't let you make an incorrect decision. Why? Is it the manager who fears that hard conversation, that they're going to hurt the worker's feeling, and so they're going to be inconvenienced on the weekend, and then therefore they're going to now micromanage this person to the point of they don't feel like they can do their job? And then, like I mentioned earlier, the cameras that zoom in on your phone to monitor your activity. But not only do they do that, they have audio, and they're listening to your conversations with your fellow employees. So everybody, and I don't care who you are, you have said something negative about the place you work. And you know what? Maybe you're having a bad day. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're venting, you know. We used to call it, when I started teaching cosmetology, we used to call it, go home and have a bitch buddy. And if you got to complain about your job, go talk to somebody outside of work about it, whoever that may be, that they're not invested in what you're talking about. And that's maybe a good way to do it, maybe not. But at least you're getting out the frustration of your workday. We all experience that, right? And maybe you don't have that. And maybe you have somebody you're close with at work, or maybe you're just in that toxic environment that I mentioned earlier, and you're all just shitting on the place that you're working at because it's just an awful place to work at. And whatever it is you're saying, the camera above, acting as if they're God, is listening to everything you're saying. You're bombarded with toxic, cutthroat behavior where coworkers are willing to throw their coworker under the bus to save their own job. And maybe that was the person you were just shitting on your job about. So, if anything I said resonated with you today, please subscribe. Subscribe to me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Check out my website, Coachingwithmsd. This is it for today's chat, and thank you so much for sharing your time and your coffee. I appreciate you being here. If you're a micromanager or have suffered from micromanagement and you want to learn how to build your leadership skills, or you're looking to pivot your career, check out my coaching services. I am very affordable, and we can just have a free discovery call. Just a quick chat to see if coaching will help you. Until next time, keep sipping, keep growing, and remember to live as your authentic self, your version, nobody else's, just you.